There are two kinds of people in this world. There are the ones who lean, and there are the ones who get leaned on. If you're watching this, I already know which one you are. I can see it in your tired eyes. I can feel it in the weight you carry in your shoulders. You're the pillar. You're the rock. You're the guy everyone calls when the sky is falling, when the bank is calling, when their marriages are crumbling, and when their lives are entirely off the rails. For 45 years, that was me. I was the architect of everybody else's survival. I was the family ATM, the free therapist, the emergency mechanic, the crisis negotiator. My phone was the one that rang at 2 in the morning, and I was the fool who always answered it. You see, society feeds us a very dangerous, very romantic lie. They tell us that loyalty is a boomerang. They tell us that if you bleed for your friends, if you sacrifice your time, your money, and your peace of mind for your family, that when your time comes, when you stumble, they will be there to catch you. It's a lie. It is the greatest, most devastating lie ever sold to good men. What nobody tells you is that when you make yourself a bridge, people don't respect you. They just walk all over you to get to the other side. And when you finally collapse from the weight, they don't rebuild you. They just complain that the bridge is broken, and they go find another way across. Today, I'm going to tell you the hardest truth I ever had to swallow. I'm going to tell you about the day I fell, the day the invincible man broke down, and the deafening absolute silence that followed. If you are currently setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm, put the matches down, sit back, and listen to me. Let's rewind a bit. I need you to understand how deep the illusion went. I had a brother, let's call him Tommy. Tommy was a charmer, but he was a disaster walking. He couldn't hold a job, couldn't keep $1 in his pocket. When Tommy was 35, he got into deep financial trouble. Bad investments, worse habits. They were going to take his house. His wife was packing her bags. Who did he call? He called me, crying, begging, swearing on our dead mother's grave that he was going to change. I didn't just give him advice. I emptied a savings account I'd been building for 10 years. $40,000. I handed it to him, no questions asked, no contract signed. We were blood. That's what blood does, right? Then there were my friends, the guys I drank with, the guys I barbecued with. When Mike's business went under, I spent 3 months of my weekends helping him rebuild his storefront. When Jimmy's kid got into trouble with the law, I paid the retainer for the lawyer because Jimmy was broke. I let people sleep on my couch. I co-signed loans. I gave away my time, the only currency you can never make back. And in return, I got the pats on the back. You're the man, Frank. You're a lifesaver. I don't know what I'd do without you. I heard those words so often I became addicted to them. I confused gratitude with love. I confused their relief with loyalty. But you need to understand the psychology of a parasite. A parasite doesn't love the host. The parasite loves the blood. When you are the fixer, people don't love you. They love how incredibly useful you are to them. They love the fact that your presence in their life means they don't have to face the consequences of their own terrible decisions. You become their safety net. And the thing about safety nets is, nobody pays attention to them until they fall. And nobody ever checks to see if the net is fraying. Well, my net didn't just fray, it snapped. It happened 5 years ago. I was 68. I had spent a lifetime working 70-hour weeks, ignoring my own health to make sure everyone else was comfortable. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was in my driveway carrying groceries. Suddenly it felt like an elephant had just sat on my chest. My left arm went entirely numb. The world tilted, the concrete rushed up to meet me, and everything went black. Massive myocardial infarction, a widowmaker heart attack. I woke up 3 days later in an ICU, hooked up to a dozen machines, listening to the rhythmic, terrifying beep of a heart monitor. The doctors told me I was lucky to be breathing. They also told me I needed a triple bypass surgery, 6 months of aggressive rehabilitation, and that my working days were officially over. And then the real nightmare began. Not the physical pain, the financial and emotional avalanche. Because I had given so much of my safety cushion away over the years, my medical bills started drowning me. The insurance companies played their games. I was staring down the barrel of losing my own home. For the first time in my entire adult life, the man who had the answers had absolutely nothing. I was terrified. I was weak. I was vulnerable. So I did what they had always done. I reached for the phone. I called in the markers. I thought, I have spent half a century watering other people's gardens. Surely someone will bring me a cup of water when I'm dying of thirst. Oh, the absolute arrogance of my own naivety. I called Tommy, the brother I had saved from ruin. I asked him if he could start paying back a fraction of that 40 grand, just a few hundred a month to help with my medications. Do you know what he said? Frank, you know things are tight right now. The kids have college and we just renovated the kitchen. I thought that money was a gift. You shouldn't hold that over my head. And he hung up. I called Mike. I called Jimmy. I called the nieces and nephews whose cars I had fixed and whose rent I had paid. Suddenly, everyone was incredibly busy. I'm praying for you, Frank. Sending good vibes, man. Let me know if there's anything I can do. But the moment I actually asked for help, the moment I asked for a ride to physical therapy, or a small loan, or just someone to sit with me because the depression was eating me alive. Ghosts. The whole damn lot of them turned into ghosts. Do you know what true silence sounds like? It's not peaceful. It's not tranquil. The silence of abandonment is a roaring, deafening noise in your ears. I spent 4 months sitting in this exact chair recovering, alone. I watched the seasons change out that window, and during those long, dark afternoons, I had to confront a demon much scarier than my failing heart. I had to mourn the death of my entire social circle. But it's a strange kind of grief, isn't it? Grieving people who are still alive. Grieving a family that still exists, but just doesn't care that you exist. I realized that I had surrounded myself with leeches who wore the masks of family and friends. And the most bitter pill to swallow was the realization that it was my own fault. Yes, my fault. Because I taught them how to treat me. By never saying no, by never demanding respect, by always absorbing their pain, I trained them to view me as a resource, not a human being. A resource doesn't have feelings. A resource doesn't get sick. A resource just provides until it runs dry, and then it is discarded. When you are a good man, you project your own moral compass onto the world. You think, I wouldn't abandon them in their darkest hour, so they won't abandon me. But the world doesn't operate on your moral compass. The world operates on convenience. They didn't abandon me because they were inherently evil. They abandoned me because I was no longer useful. And sitting around a sick, broke old man requires effort, empathy, and sacrifice. Words that were completely absent from their vocabulary. That realization, it nearly broke my mind. I was angry. I was consumed by a rage so dark and so heavy I could barely breathe. I wanted to call them, scream at them, demand the loyalty I had bought and paid for. But then something shifted. The anger burned out, and what was left behind was something much, much colder and much more powerful. Clarity. I made a decision. I didn't announce it. I didn't write a dramatic Facebook post. I didn't send angry letters. I simply picked up a pair of emotional scissors and I started cutting. I cut the cords, every single one of them. I changed my phone number. I stopped reaching out. I stopped being the glue holding a broken family together. I stopped carrying the weight of the world. I downsized my life. I sold the big house I didn't need anymore, paid off my medical debts, and moved into a smaller place. I found peace in the quiet. I learned how to be alone without feeling lonely. And do you know what the funniest part is? When you stop being the fixer, people get incredibly angry at you. When you finally set a boundary, the people who used to cross it will accuse you of building a wall. About a year after I went dark, Tommy somehow got my new number. He called me. Same old song and dance. "Frank, man, where have you been? Listen, I'm in a tight spot. The transmission on the truck blew out." I stopped him right there. I didn't yell. My voice was as calm as a frozen lake. I said, "Tommy, I don't care about your truck. I don't care about your tight spots. You are a grown man. Figure it out." And I hung up. Word got around fast. Suddenly, in their eyes, I wasn't the victim of their neglect. I was the bad guy. I was the grumpy, bitter, selfish old man who had turned his back on his family. I became the villain in all of their stories. And let me tell you something. I sleep like a goddamn baby being the villain. I love being the villain in the story of a parasite. It means the parasite is starving. It means my blood is finally my own. I am speaking directly to you right now. The man who is tired. The woman who is exhausted. The person who feels like they are holding up the sky, terrified that if they let go, everything will crush them. Let it fall. Let it all crash down. Stop crossing oceans for people who wouldn't even jump a puddle for you. Stop breaking your own back to carry people who are perfectly capable of walking on their own 2 feet. Your kindness is a privilege, not a given right. Your access is a VIP pass, not a public park. If people want to enjoy the warmth of your fire, they need to bring some wood, period. It is going to hurt when you pull back. You are going to look around and realize your circle is incredibly small. In fact, it might just be you standing alone in a room. But let me promise you this. A peaceful solitude is infinitely better than a crowded room full of fake smiles and empty promises. You are not responsible for fixing adults who refuse to fix themselves. You are only responsible for your own peace. If you are watching this and you have finally realized that your friends and family only love you for what you can provide, if you are ready to put the scissors to the cord and take your life back, go down to the comments section right now. I don't want a life story. I want a declaration. Type these exact words. The bank is closed. Write it down, put it in stone, look at it, and let it be the first day of the rest of your life. Take your power back. Let them hate you. Let them call you selfish, and learn to smile while they do it. Stay strong, stay stoic, and keep your circle small. I'll see you in the next one.